people don't talk about the negatives of winning enough. And there's a reason why I'm telling you guys this, okay? Even as a teacher, as an educator, I always like to give people the pros and the cons because I feel any decision you make, you should be very well aware of what is possible of happening, right? And one thing I've realized about people, and we're going to get into why I'm talking about this, because I've had a lot of conversations recently with people trying to tell me how I should be like diving headfirst into all these things. And I'm like, you're only saying that because you're only thinking of the positives and because you haven't done that. And you've never been in a position of doing a lot of the things that I have, and you haven't had to pay the consequences. So I like to keep things realistic, you guys. I like to keep things realistic because it's not all, what's the word? It's not all fun and games, right? As much as life is a game, it's not all fun and games. There are serious concerns and considerations that you want to have before you pursue winning to any degree. And to be honest, the greater the opportunity for blessing, the greater the opportunity for other things. I don't want to say curses because that's a bit extreme, I feel. But yeah, so that's what we're going to talk about because I've been having a lot of really annoying conversations recently with people. And it always goes like this, people are like, oh, you need to just like, I feel like you're not going 100%, which is true. I'm not. In fact, I've actually completely stopped in my tracks. And because I've said to the Lord that like, God, let me give you guys an example. If you see somebody that you think is really good at a particular sport, right? It all sounds all well and good saying to them, oh, you should actually really pursue going to the Olympics. I think you have the ability to be an Olympian. That's awesome, right? And becoming an Olympian is incredible, right? That's a huge achievement. And I'm sure the dopamine, the endorphins, all of it is hitting hard when you're standing on that podium and you're biting into that medal, right? But here's the thing that people don't think about. And this is what I'm trying to say. People don't think about what comes with it. The fact that you've now committed to the Olympics, that means you've now committed to this training schedule that could be going on for the next 4, 8, 12, who knows when you're going to be able to actually even make it onto the podium years. So you're committing to the discipline of training. You're committing to prioritizing this above other things, which means sacrificing relationships, opportunities, you name it. You're committing to putting yourself out there to be critiqued by everybody in the world, right? At every given moment, and have people be writing headlines about you and people be making videos on YouTube like I do, about people and all these types of thing. You're committing to that as well. You're committing to a journey where along the way there's going to be jealousy, there's going to be sabotage, there's going to be all these other things that come alongside it. You're committing to giving up some of your favorite things. Maybe you can't have as much pizza as you were having before or much whatever because now you're training. It's a whole commitment. And I feel like this is what no one seems to understand when I'm trying to explain about where I'm at with my whole journey at the moment in life and why I'm kind of just a bit like hesitant, because it's easy for you to sit there and have all these opinions about why somebody should do something because you're seeing all the shiny stuff. And I see it in people's eyes. Like even when people sometimes, when they hear about the stuff that I'm doing or the stuff, just me talking in general, and like their eyes like light up as if like, whoa, this is so cool. You've got to pursue this. You've got to pursue that. And I'm like, you're only thinking about the positives. You're not thinking about the negatives. And sometimes the negatives might not be worth the positives. Sometimes, because I'll be very honest with you guys. There's a very few things right now in the world that I can think of where the negatives are worth, where the positives outweigh the negatives. It's very, very, very few things. I've done a lot, I've achieved a lot, and I've seen a lot. Like, there's not really much more to see in this world, like, to be honest, like, other than a few very small things. Well, they're not small to me, but I feel like they're small, they will be small to others maybe, But like, I've seen and I've done stuff. Like, I've experienced really cool things. I've known what it's like to feel, I know what it's like. A lot of these things that people are like, oh, how could you not do this? How could you not do that? Like, I'll give you guys one simple example of something that I don't want to do, that people like don't seem to get why I don't want to do it, right? And one of those things is leadership, okay? Because to you, it sounds fun. Like, oh, you're the like leading this thing and you're doing this and you're doing that. That sounds nice. It sounds nice. I am not somebody who enjoys being adored anyway. Okay, inspiring people, I would love to do. That's all actually I would like to do, is to inspire people to, like I said, rather than us all walking around being like, we need more people like so and so in the world. No, 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 no. Be like that person instead. That's why I hate what people say about like me as a teacher. Thank God that's behind me. You know, like, oh, we need more people like you. No, 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 no. You need to become. If that's what you think, you need to become it yourself. Stop waiting for somebody else to do everything. You know. But like people don't think about, first of all, the responsibilities element, as in whatever I put my name behind and whatever I stand up with, I'm going to be held responsible to God one day, not even to the world, let's say, but to God one day. To God one day, I'm going to be held responsible for what I did. I'm going to be held responsible even just for this channel. Right now, this channel is my safe spot because I feel that it's somewhere where if like my target audience, first of all, is the adult population, so it's up to you. If there's kids watching, it's not my fault your parents aren't supervising you properly. That's their business. That's their thing that they're going to be held accountable for at the end. Right? I'm going to be held accountable for everything that I say on the internet. That's why I keep it real, because at least I can say that I told the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Even if maybe, you know, I shouldn't have shared this much truth that time or whatever it is. It's a lot of responsibility, and like no one tends to think about this. It's the same thing like when people talk about like being the oldest, right? And all this pressure, like, oh wow, you know, I was told growing up that I should be like you. It's a lot of pressure I didn't ask for. I didn't ask for that pressure. I didn't ask to be the example. I didn't ask when I now get in trouble because I did something and it affected you and now you felt comfortable to do that thing. I didn't ask for that pressure. I didn't even ask to be born. But now all of that responsibility has been placed on my shoulders of, you now need to be responsible. You need to be a good role model. You need to be this. It's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure because now you're going to be the same people flipping it around and saying, well, you stepped, you know, like what people say online where it's like, oh, where like if somebody gets critiqued and it's like, well, you chose to be on the internet. Exactly. So if I'm saying I don't want to choose to be in a particular position of doing something, then maybe that's because I've actually thought about those things, and hearing everybody else saying all the time, oh, this is why you should have known that if you did this was going to happen. Okay, great. Thank you guys for everyone for saying that, because now I've known what's going to come of it, and that's exactly why I don't want to do it. But then you don't like that. It's just like, oh, but you should do it because clearly God is trying to take you here and do this with you. Really? Like, really? And so when I'm actually being wise now and recognizing that, hey, maybe I should really, really think and wait until I feel ready to do something, knowing the consequences that I must pay to do it. Maybe that's a smart thing. Maybe you're just thinking that it's that simple because you're just seeing the shiny stuff. You're seeing the shiny stuff. You're saying, oh, I think you'd be good at this. You're not thinking of the negatives. And you don't even know what I'm like behind the scenes. For all you guys know, I'd be shooting up heroin before these videos. For all you guys know, this is all a fake character that you're seeing on the internet. Obviously it's not, and obviously I'm not. But like, do you understand what I'm saying? I have to think about that. I have to think, if I put myself into any kind of position of doing anything, that I'm going to be held accountable now. Because now if I step into a position, now I'm responsible for the people that are around me. Now I'm responsible again. And I'll be honest, I don't want to be responsible. I don't. I really don't. That's why I feel like, I don't know if I should have children. Okay, I will. I know I will. That's the thing. That's the problem. But because once that happens, and even if the world will make excuses for me, because the world does, you know, the parents are the one thing that the world always makes excuses for. And I know this as a teacher because I was listening to some discussion that was being had about these teachers, and somebody was really praising this teacher for being such a good example and leader to all of these kids. I'm like, do you know how much pressure it is to actually have like 25, 30, 100, 200, 300 kids all at once who are scrutinizing everything that you do? Do you guys know what kind of pressure that is? And why do I say like all of that number? Because you have all these different classes. They see you, they see the way that you dress, they see the way that you talk. Nowadays, they can search your social media. You are under such strong scrutiny, and because you're a teacher, not their parent. And then it'd even be the parents that are like happy for the teachers who can manage keeping everything afloat. And it's like, that's an unbelievable amount of pressure that I don't think people actually realize. It's an unbelievable amount of pressure. And you're the one who everyone is seeing is responsible for how well these kids do. So if they don't do well, no one's looking at their home situation. That barely happens unless there's some serious violence or something happening. No one's looking there. They're looking at the teacher. They're looking at the classroom. They're looking at, why is it that your students, this other class's students has got 90% pass rate, but yours is already only 85. You're not thinking about that. You're just thinking, oh my gosh, it's so nice to have the teachers. Like, this is what I'm trying to say. That's why I feel I've understood. Like, for me, the type of commitment I'm prepared to make would be like a sporting one. I'll commit to a sporting journey because, first of all, I like sports and I like to move my body. So I could commit to something like that. But some of these other things that people think I should be doing, and I get it. Look, I get what the Lord is trying to do as well, okay? I see where he's trying to go with a lot of things. I also don't in a lot of senses. But I'm also like, I'm actually just counting. The Bible says to count the cost of carrying your own cross. You have to count the cost of it. And I'm counting the cost. Albeit I sit more thinking about the cons and the pros, but that's because the pros are always going to be pro anyway. That's why I'm like, I don't worry about what's happening in heaven. I know what's going to happen in heaven. I'm going to be loving life in heaven. It's going to be amazing, I'm sure, right? What I'm worried about is this freaking place. What am I doing while I'm here? You know what I mean? Heaven's going to be good. The first thing I did was worry about getting into heaven, because I was like, yep. That's why I find it backwards how the world lives, is in like thinking about, the world likes to think about like the wrong thing, if you ask me. Like, the world is focused on enjoyment here on this side of eternity, and I'm focused on enjoyment in actual eternity itself. You know what I mean? This is saying again about the backwardsness. It's just backwards, like. So yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about, because I've been thinking about it, yeah, and I've had a few conversations. I know people mean well. People really mean really well, but it's like, when you haven't done certain things in your life, then you don't quite get why. It's like even, you know, all these, I always talk a lot about things I did around the time I was at university. And the reason for that is because when I left to university, that was the last time in my life that like I went into things just solely focused on the goals and kind of prepared to do whatever it took, but not whatever it took, because I was never going to sell my soul. But like, I was just like, I was also in a place where I was ignorant, just like how I feel like everybody else is, if I'm being really honest, or a lot of other people are. I was ignorant to what the negatives are going to be. I was so overly focused on the positives. I was like, yeah, I'm going to do a degree. And while I'm doing my degree, I'm going to pursue a career in dance, and I'm going to pursue a career as a dance teacher, and I'm going to go and live in the city, and I'm going to That's where my head was. And I was like, okay, I'm running head first. And I ran head first into it. And I gave it everything. And obviously it paid off, but I also paid a lot of costs for doing that. That's what I'm saying. I'm reviewing my life. I'm looking back at my life. I'll feel like old enough to actually like see things. Like, my eyes feel opened, and I'm looking back and I'm thinking, okay, but what did it cost me? It cost me all my relationships. Like, when I was in university, and I still to this day don't understand why this was like this, right? But I had so many situations where I lost friends for just dumb things. Like, one of them, the most simple one being, I used to have this friendship group, and we were called Chem Squad, and I called us Chem Squad in like week 1 or whatever, two of university. And so it was me and 3 other girls on my course, and we called ourselves Chem Squad. And we were like a literal force to be reckoned with, because we all were just really good at different areas of doing the chemistry stuff. And so when we would study together, it would be like, it was just really good. Like, we were really good together. And then also we used to have a lot of fun together. Like, we would do a lot of things. Like, we would study really hard together, but we would work hard, play harder, basically. And so we were really good, like, to the point that even the lecturers, like, they would never let us work together as a group when there was those group projects, because they were like, this group is too OP, like, we can't just let you guys do this, we need you to like separate, whatever. But here's what happened with that, right? So I'm here doing what I'm doing, and my thing to myself was like, as long as I can keep up my grades, I'm happy to do, like, as long as everything is working well, I'm going to continue like doing things the way that I'm doing them. So as long as like I'm having steady progress in my career as a dancer and a choreographer, as long as I'm staying on top of my grades, I don't see why I need to change anything that I'm doing, because I'm making it work and I'm making it happen, right? So I'm working, I'm studying, I'm doing all this dance stuff along the side. I was in a dance company, I was in a dance crew, I had my own dance teams. Like, it was a lot of dance, excuse me. And so, but I was making it work. So I remember there was a week, right? And it was like, I remember this week so well. It was in my final year. And basically, in the space of the week, it was like, on the Saturday, we had the dance competition, right? Anyway, yeah, we had the dance competition, the championships, right? So we had the championships on the Saturday. Then on the following Friday that was coming, so 6 days later, was going to be my showcase, because that was my dream. My dream was always to put on a showcase, because I'm good at putting on a show, right? It's one of my skills. Like, I would say I'm as good at putting on a show as I am a problem solver, which is very confusing in my mind because they're two completely different sides of my brain, but whatever. So I wanted to put on a show. I was like, I need to put on a show. I need to put on multiple shows because, again, my strategy was I could wait and spend 10 years getting qualifications. Or if I do all of these different like things and I document all of it, I can just go and pitch myself to people and be like, well, look, here's the proof of what I'm capable of doing. And that's exactly what I did. And that's exactly how I built a career. So with all of the stuff, because I also don't have a teaching qualification, but here we are, right? So anyway, so I was like, okay, as long as I can manage all this. So it was like the Saturday was the championships, right? The coming Friday was my showcase. The Thursday was my dress rehearsals at the venue, which also I have to go and set up the venue and everything, right? And, you know, organize this, the sound, like with the sound and the AV guys, the audio visual guys, organized with the place there that was still good. Like there was a lot to organize. But anyway, so I've gone to, on that Thursday and that Friday, I had exams. So I've gone into my exams, like, and I literally had, I remember like bags with me because I had like the tablecloths, like the what was it called? The programs that I just printed off, like, because I'm running around and I was like, okay, I'm going to go to my exam on Thursday and then I'm rushing straight to the venue to start setting up, right? Because it's setting up the night before because the show was going to be on the Friday. And then also obviously on the Friday, as soon as the exam was done, I was also going to rush straight to the venue again because then the show's that night, right? I actually made it all work really well, okay? But the girls on my course, right? And this is what I'm saying about about things. The girls on my course, right? They didn't get why I was doing both, even though I wasn't dropping the ball. I wasn't dropping the ball in my degree. Would I have gotten slightly better grade if I had focused solely on that? Yes, but the degree was never, I never even really wanted to study. The main reason I studied was for a couple of reasons. One, to give myself a way to move to London, right? Two, for my grandmother, because she, you know, I knew she would really appreciate, and I would be her first grandchild, her oldest grandchild, the first one to graduate. So I thought that would be a nice way to, you know, show respect and appreciation for all the hard work that she did, allowing for me to have opportunities to even be studying in the West in the first place. And the third reason is so that if I ever decided to homeschool, I would have the skills necessary, because chemistry sits very beautifully in the middle of a lot of subject areas for a lot of things. So anything else that I needed, I could probably teach myself, but any core information I would need that would be highly specific, I could get through doing that. So those are the reasons. But realistically speaking, I wanted to do performing arts. Okay. And this is the thing. So anyway, so for me, dance was always a way higher priority than science ever was anyway. But that's my business. So these girls on my course, right, we were really close, right, at this point. We've been together for 3 years. We've been studying. They know I'm not dropping the ball because we've been doing well. But they just started to get more and more annoyed almost that I had this joint thing going on. And I just didn't get it because I was like, if I was struggling, if I wasn't doing well, then fine, fair enough. Like, have an intervention, you know what I mean? And tell me you're doing this degree, why are you going to waste this opportunity? But then I also knew to myself, because I was like, I'm sick of the education. So I was like, I'm graduating at 21, come what may. 21 is when I'm done. Come what may, I'm done at 21 years of age with the education system, right? So I was like sure of my goal. Like I said, I had goals and I was sure of my goals. I hadn't thought about, you know, whatever. And I just remember that in the lead up on those 2 days, right? Because this is also when we were coming into the exam season, like the final exam season. This is also when we're finalizing, we're starting to get into the final days of doing our scientific research. So it was intense, right? But as I said, I wasn't dropping the ball. I was there for majority of the studying sessions that we did as a group. And yeah, I was making it work and I was happy. I've just come off of a huge achievement. I didn't think I was ever going to be a dance teacher till I was 28. I'm 27 right now, you guys. So this is when I was 21. So actually it wasn't even 21 yet, I was 20. So I never even thought I was capable of doing that for like another 8 years before I'd even be able to be like saying that I'd done something that insane, and to have gone up with like choreography against like people in the industry and all of that stuff was absolutely incredible, right? So I've come off the riding off the wave of that, and also I'm killing it in my research and whatnot, and I was really into my project. I'd really gotten myself into the groove of like doing all of my calculations, because I basically just spent the whole time running these calculations, right, on these computational calculations, you know, because I said it was a quantum chemistry based computational research project that I did. So literally just running calculations till, you know, So yeah, so I'm really in riding the wave, and then my showcase is coming up, and I'm looking forward to the showcase because we're also going to perform at the showcase the choreography that we just got a freaking trophy for, and I'm riding the wave, and I'm feeling in my vibe. But then I lost these friends basically in the short space of a couple of events that took place. Number one, two of them kept talking about one of the other ones because she was not showing up to uni, which also made me think about what must they say about me when I'm not there, because I'm not always there for absolutely everything because of what I'm doing. And they would try to say things like, oh, we think maybe, like one of them especially, she was, because like I was all supportive of her. She wanted to get 90% because she wanted to then go and do a PhD at Oxford, yada, yada, yada. And for those of you outside of the UK, Oxford and Cambridge are like the two top universities in the country. So those are like the ones that you can only even apply to one of them at a time as well. So if you apply to Oxford, you can't apply to Cambridge at the same time. Like it's a whole thing. So she wanted to go and study her, do like a master's PhD at Oxford. I was all for it. She's like, I need to get 90% overall to go do it. I was all for it. I was all supportive. I was supportive of everyone. The other one, she wanted to become a school teacher. I didn't want to become a school teacher at that point. I only became a teacher recently in recent years out of convenience, honestly. And then the other one, she wanted to do food science. And so she was into food science. And so we all had different kind of ideas of what we were doing. For me, I was just like, I just need to tick off this degree. And then I'm getting straight to starting my own company, which is exactly what I did. Yeah, that is exactly what I did, because within 2 months of graduating, I had registered my company and boom, bang, we started. And then by the end of the year, we launched in December. So, yeah, so I'm like thinking, what's the issue here? Like, what is the issue? I didn't get it. But let's just say, long story short, they were being very, very like judgmental and like cutting me off because of, oh, why are you like studying? Like, why are you doing this while you're studying? Because again, I'm here sitting there in like my sports captain jacket and my like leggings and trainers with like my bags underneath my desk while I'm doing my exam. And after my exam, I'm literally darting straight to the venue, and they just didn't get it. Even though, and this was the kicker, this is when I realized what was really going on. I only realized what was happening and why I was going through all of this because I was really close with these girls. I love these girls. I was so invested in our long-term journey as friends, right? So when I didn't really realize where the animosity was coming from until we got our results from our research projects, because obviously that we all did separate research. One of us, so one of them, she was doing research on like how the microplastics transfer in like bottles for like babies. So she was testing out like different materials inside the bottles. Then she would like, get the liquids out and test to see what was in them. It was really cool research. The other one she was doing food. She did a food science based one. I can't remember exactly what her research was. And then the other one was doing like this crystallography. So she's doing these like it's a whole story. I'm not going to get into all of that because it's kind of complicated to discuss. And then obviously I'm doing predicting infrared infrared spectra for small organic molecules in outer space using computational chemistry. So all three of them were in the lab and I was never in the lab, which for me worked out because I like to work late at night anyway. So it all worked out for me because I was like, during the daytime, I'll be either in lecture or at dance. At nighttime, I could be just there, sitting there for hours at like 1, 2, 3 in the morning, running these calculations. So it actually worked out perfect for me. Anyways, the long and short of it was we get to the end of the year. I'm saying so much. We do the research and then we get our results. This girl, the one who was all like, I need to get 90%, I need to go to Oxford. Me and her got the exact same grade, 85%. Oral presentation and final report, 85%. And she wasn't happy about it. Because basically, I got the impression from her that she was waiting. And this is something that's happened to me before, where somebody's like waiting for your failure so they can like throw in your face like what happened. And it was just insane because what actually happened at the exact same time was I first of all got way better than I thought. I burst into tears when I saw that I got 85 because they were like, if you get 80% or more, you can produce, do you see what I'm saying? So all of these things that I was just doing innocently, like just chasing after my dreams and whatever. And this is just one of many situations that were happening because at the very same time as this is when this other girl was telling my other friend that I was talking about her behind her back. At the very same time this is happening, I'm also dealing with everything to do with my family and whatnot and the stories I've been telling you about people trying to kill each other and people lying on people's names. This is all happening all at the exact same time, together, at the same time. And I'm still graduating, right? With the degree that I have, with the research that I have, with the trophies that I have, and with everything. And so now I'm looking at the options of things that I want to do in this life now. And I'm thinking, and what cost am I going to pay this time? because the dreams are bigger now. Because when I finished doing the dance thing, I said, the Lord was like, I said to the Lord, I was like, God, I wanted to be a dance teacher. Like, I kind of done the damn thing. Like, I've done jobs in the entertainment industry. Like, I've been around like famous people. I've been around, like, I've done the damn thing. Like, I've done the damn thing. I thought that goal was going to be like years in the making. I'm still here. We're thinking at this point, I still wouldn't have done it. And I've done the damn thing. Like, after I graduated, obviously, and then I went into the industry, right? But then again, within a year, by the stage of 22, I'd done it. I'd done it all. What I wanted to do. What I wanted to achieve, I'd done. My actual dreams that I believed were impossible, I'd done at 22. But then what did I pay along the way? And that's what I'm saying, because I remember, like, and I'll never forget this, that once upon a time, I got invited to a premiere in London of some movie, and I don't even know how I got there. Oh, it's just because of one of my industry connections. They're like, yeah, I'll give you some tickets to go to the premiere. Did I have anybody to go with? No. I remember, like, when I would be doing my shows and I'd be trying to, like, get the people that I care about, because this is what I'm saying about me and people and cost and this and that, right? But I remember I'll be trying to get the people, like, even when the year I launched my company, I remember I was like, okay, cool. When I had the launch event, right, I was like, I had it in my head. I'm thinking, I know so many people. And at this point, I had a much bigger Instagram page than I do now. My Instagram page doesn't have very many followers, right? But then I had an Instagram page because I'd been building that Instagram page since I was 16. So I had quite a good number of people and I had a large network, right? And so I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this is going to be so cool. Like, everybody that, like, supported me throughout the years is going to be there. It was just like it is right now. It's freaking people who don't know me, strangers who are showing up. And then it's the people that should have had my back. Like, I literally had people say to me, like, after some people who did come to the events, try to now, after having spent years again criticizing every single thing that I do, like, this is what I'm trying to say to you guys, that it might just seem like just ignore them, but it's like, but it's everywhere. Like, it's everywhere. It's not just like, oh, this group of people or just that. It's everywhere. Like, I was thinking about this over Christmas, the Christmas break, that I have this default setting that everything everyone's going to say about me is going to be a negative criticism, right? Always. I always assume people are thinking the worst, but then I realize that that's not in my head. Because a lot of people are like that, and the people who are not, it's always people that, like, don't even know me. Like, I'm like, you guys are the winning team. Like, it bewilders me how you guys are the ones who seem to be so understanding and so just, like, there. And you guys are the ones who see me. I'm all over the place, right? Here I am randomly, like, in a random t-shirt, having rolled out of bed, you know what I mean? With whatever random lighting that's happening, just so that you guys can see me, because it's so foggy outside right now. Otherwise, I would have just recorded the natural lighting, which I prefer to do. But, like, the sky is literally white right now, you know? And you guys have seen all my crazy thoughts and whatever, and you're here. But then the people that I know personally are the ones, because like they would make it seem like I was asking them to break. I remember one time, right, one of my other friends, this is all happening at the same time again. 1 second. So let's go back to this showcase. So I've had a showcase, and this is my literal dream. And I've told people, the people that are close to me, like my family, my friend, my close friends, whatever. And I had my best friend and my family, right, when these showcases were happening. Listen to you guys. Listen, this is what I'm talking about, yeah? Because people will say, oh, you should value relationships. And I'm going to explain to you why I don't. So I'm now here, right, having a showcase. This is my dream. It is still my dream to this day. I have literally got a whole, like, I've literally written a whole musical theater, like, not even musical theater, yeah, kind of musical theater piece. There's like 22 songs. It's insane. And there's like mashed up songs where I've like mashed up this song with that song and that song with this song. I have the choreography in my head. I have it all in here and written down as well, right? This is my actual dream. I love to put on a show. I love it. I love it. I don't even have to be in it myself. I would rather just be the one telling everybody, this is what we're doing. This is what we're doing, right? I love it. So for me, this was a dream come true. the venue that I got, everyone was like, you're never going to get the venue, you're never going to get the venue. We tried to get the venue before, but they of course, and again, the classic. Everything that I do, it's everyone telling me that I can't do it. And everything, literally. Oh, you'll never be able to start dance teams here. Oh, you'll never be able to get that venue. You'll never be able to have a career in the entertainment industry. You'll never be able to study chemistry at university. We don't think you're capable. All of these things are things that people said you could do. You'll never. So those are the doors I'm always being told I'll never when I'm knocking on the door, right? And then at the same time, I've got the people around me. So like I've done the showcase, I'm making it happen now. So I'm on cloud a billion because now I'm actually living my actual dream. I've got to organize the sound and lighting. I had a guy who is a videographer who took some really beautiful, well done videos. So I'm in my element, okay? And I'm studying and I'm enjoying my studies because I feel like I'm somebody who needs to be intellectually engaged at every given point. Similar to like I was saying, I have to be physical, like I need I need to function. I need like 2 to 4 hours of exercise a day, and that's to function physically. And to mentally function, I need at least, again, like a 2 to 4 hours of thinking time where I can just process things and like information, which is why I'm honestly not that mad that I don't sleep very often that much, because I need to find that extra time somewhere, you know? So I'm in my element. I'm so excited. Like, this is like the biggest thing to happen to me. Like, this is something that, and this is everything I'm saying here, guys. I'm talking about the costs you pay to achieve things, right? Because people showed up to that show, and afterwards people were like, "Oh my gosh, this is so amazing! Like, well done! Like, da 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 da." Like, I had it was insane. Like, because I had an after party as well at the like bar that was right below, because we basically made it into like, that was like the after party. We went into late into the morning. So I'm coming downstairs and I'm seeing all the like my the other people that I know, again, not people that I'm like so super close with, but people that I know like in my network, right? And they're all doing all this stuff. They're like trying to buy me drinks, trying to say, "Well done, you did so well." Tell me why, when I invited my family, they made it seem as if I was asking them to literally sell their kidneys, both of them, to be there, right? Both of them. And I actually regret going to all the lengths I had to, because I had to go to all these lengths because I was like, I've got to have my people there. Like, I've got to make sure my people are there. So that means I've had to organize wristbands for under 18s just so that my youngest brother could come because he was below the age of 18. So I had to organize that because it's still a licensed event. I've had to do a lot of things. I've had to get people to sign waivers it was just a lot of things. And I had to do all these things myself, right? And then tell me why my best friend at the time as well, yeah? She doesn't come to this event. So I want you guys to understand, this is all happening simultaneously together, right? And I'm still doing the damn thing. So then my friend didn't come. My closest friend at the time, my best friend at the time, she didn't come. You know why she didn't come? Because she was at drinks with her friends from work. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the United Kingdom. She was going for drinks every single Friday. This is the one Friday. And she doesn't show up because she says, "Oh, I was going to drinks with my friends at work." So the people I'm closest to are the people who like have this casual, "Oh, this isn't that important" attitude. And then the people that are working on this, because I didn't pay like a lot of the workers. This is one of the reasons I don't work on any current creative projects, because for me, it's very important to pay people in the entertainment industry, right? It's very, very important. So until I have the money to pay people what they deserve, I don't want to hire them unless it's like a group project that we're working on together. And when I say group project, I mean like our hearts are all in this, and this is like a shared vision. And so obviously then it's worth it for us not necessarily for them to be paid. Otherwise, I feel like you've got to pay people what they're due. But like all these other people that are supporting, you've got the freaking, like I said, the AV team. I had a whole bunch of people volunteering, helping to bring in guests, seat them properly. The people at the venue paid themselves. They paid themselves. This is what you guys to understand about what I'm saying. They paid themselves for their staff to work at the bar. So they paid for like 3 staff to be there from 6 p.m. until 4 a.m. the next day, right? They themselves, the venue, right? Obviously, I invested a lot of my own money into the stuff that we needed for the event, yada, yada, yada. But that's besides the point, because it's my vision. So of course I'm going to pay for it. And that's the other thing with me is I hate this whole money thing. With things, I'll pay for it. Listen, I'll pay. I'd rather just, because I can't cope with the money conversations. I hate it. It's one of those things I really, truly hate. I genuinely will just pay. Because I don't want to be asked about anything to do with money. I don't want to be asked, how much are we? No. That's why I'm like to the Lord, Lord, honestly, just make me rich, because I'll just pay for everyone. I'm cool with that. I'm so okay with that, because I hate the discussion about money in general. So that's what happened. So all in all, at the same time, this is what I'm trying to say. One of the best weeks of my life, goal-wise. I'm killing it in my degree. I'm killing it in my as a dancer. And that's not even what I was doing on the other side of the other dance-related things that I was doing and whatever else I was doing with everything else. I'm killing it. I'm working, and I actually enjoyed the job that I used to do when I was at university a lot. The only time I've actually hated my job has been this year. I'm killing it. But then what is the area of my life that is the most stressful for me? Relationships. Because my own friendship group on my course is shunning me because they don't understand my decision making. My best friend hasn't showed up to my biggest event, something that means so much to me, because she went out for drinks with her friends from work. My family are acting like I'm asking them to sell both of their kidneys to show up, and like this is the biggest inconvenience of their entire lives. And meanwhile, all these other people who are not even anywhere near as close to me. Oh, my other friend is not even my friend anymore, because little did I know that she was being lied to by somebody else. This is all happening simultaneously, right? And then, not to mention the fact that obviously, if I'm putting on a show and we've got all these things, I'm doing all the dress rehearsals, I've got to make sure everybody's routines look fine, everybody's got their costumes, that the what's it called? Not the intro. What's the name of like the first performance? I can't even remember the name for that. But like the opening. I've got to make sure the opening makes sense. I've got to make sure the finale makes sense. I've got to make sure the opening for the second half makes sense. I've got a lot to doing at the same time, and I'm happy to do it, right? But I'm saying that these are all the things that people don't think about, like the cost, the element. So it's all well and good, people being like, oh my gosh, you're so remarkable and you're this and you're that. And I'm like, but what did I pay? And those were smaller goals that I had then for me to get to there. And that was just me as a student at 20 years of age, 20 years old. Not even what I did afterwards, or say, if I was to dream now as to what I would dream about and do what I would want to do, we haven't even, that's like not even a starter. That's like an amuse-bouche of like, it's like now we're at the serious, the main meal. That was just the little, what's the phrase I heard earlier today? It's an Italian phrase. I can't remember the name of it, but it's basically like the thing you do to open your stomach, basically something you eat to like open your stomach, but you're not really eating anything, but it's just, like I said, kind of like an amuse-bouche, right? That was just the amuse-bouche. So when everyone's like, oh yeah, to me now, like, oh yeah, go for it. Like, I can tell you're holding back. The amount of times that people said to me recently in the last couple of months, oh, I can tell you're holding back. Yeah, of course I am. Because I'm counting the cost of all of this. Because that was also a lot, very taxing, and I was busy. And it was like at any given moment, if I had dropped the ball, if for that showcase, I had dropped the ball. For my degree, if I dropped the ball, I had to remain consistent in my studies. I had to remain consistent in my training. I had to remain consistent in working. I had to remain consistent with keeping on top of everything that's going on. I'm the captain of this ship. I'm the one steering this ship at this moment in time. And I'm the one making this stuff happen. And I loved it because like after the fact, I would see like, it would be beautiful. Like the things that would make it worth it would be like seeing like all the photos that like all the girlies were taking, like in the changing rooms while I was doing whatever I was doing. And like, all of the like the things that I didn't get to be a part of, because obviously I'm organizing and I'm like making sure that this is all happening. Like the faces on the team when we got called, like, and they were doing the awards, like saying who won and who whatever, the faces on the team, to see them just, erupt with like, with such joy and like euphoria, because so many of them like I'd invested in specifically because I was like, they never had the opportunities. I've always been that person again who wants to like bring up people who haven't had the opportunities, who maybe didn't necessarily feel seen and heard, because like I've said to you guys, I believe winning is for everyone, and there's some people where like everybody's going to always rally behind them because of whatever it is about them, and I'm like, that's great. And so you're already covered, like you're covered because that's how I feel about a lot of things in the world. I'm like, you already got a whole heaping number of people that are behind you. So it's not that I'm hating, it's that you're good. You've got supporters, you've got people that believe in you. So I'm going to go to find the people that need somebody. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's how I'm supposed to be as a Christian anyway. Like I like this, I'm saying, I don't get it. I don't get how I get to here. Truthfully saying, I don't get how I get to here, because I know it's so random to use like a protein shake with a freaking metal straw. It's just so random. Protein shake bottle, I mean. But yeah, I don't get how I get to here. Like, and then for me, after all is said and done, when all of that is done, and I'm happy for everybody, like the people that are the closest to me, my closest friends, like all my closest friends. I remember I lost one of my other friends at the same time, who was my the longest friend I would have ever had, because obviously I've moved my entire life. So that's the other thing that people don't realize about me is where I've moved so many times, like I'm so used to the instability of life. Like I'm not used to being around the same group of people for a very long time. So even my friend before that, like what had happened with me and her? Me and her just stopped talking because again, she decided that she's an incredible singer. She has the best voice. At that point in my life, she was the best voice I ever heard. And I feel like she sold off her voice because she got caught up in men. And like that, again, will put a wedge between us, because I am not going to get thrown off my game because of men who don't even respect me to that degree, right? So what would happen is she got involved with the wrong kind of guys, you know, and they would just kind of use her for just these like casual vocals that were very far above her below her pay grade, if you ask me, very far below. And she'd get caught up in all of that with them, and then she started to really act out for like their attention, like, and she was really, really, really trying to do it. And then I remember like at one of her birthdays, that's what I'm saying. Sometimes it's like it's either that they cut me off or I can't be around that anymore. Because I remember I went to see her at her birthday. Her birthday's in October, so it was around the Christmas time. I went to go see around the Christmas. It was around Halloween. Excuse me. I went to go see her, and so she has this whole party that she's had paid for by this guy that she's talking to. Not a good guy. Let's just put it like that, okay? And he's paid for everything. He's paid for there to be this whole bar at this freaking party and all of these things. It was an insane party to be having. Because bearing in mind, at this point, we're like 19, 20 at university. Like, what are we doing having parties to this extent? But anyways, she was basically sleeping with him for the sake of what he was doing. It wasn't like an official, like you are just like my sugar baby and I'm your sugar daddy kind of moment. It was more like it was the unsaid rule. They're not in a relationship. She is sleeping with him. He is paying for everything for her. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? And then she also got caught up in this whole like overdoing the makeup thing, because that was another thing that got to me, because I was like, me and my friends have always been, or I've always made friends or tried to with females who are kind of like not superficial. And so for me, there's nothing wrong with makeup. I feel like makeup is an art form, and like even some of the new friends I have now are like into makeup and stuff. There's nothing wrong with the makeup itself. The problem becomes when it's like something that you can't live without, right? Because you guys know, I don't even wear makeup. It's actually a lot of effort. The only reason I actually even put on mascara is literally because of my own childhood trauma, because my mum's always said that I have alien eyes. So I feel like I have to do something with my eyes, because otherwise I look like an alien. It's like literally the amount of times I'm looking at myself on my videos and I think, oh my gosh, you alien-eyed, ugly individual. But anyway, it's not really a whole childhood trauma, but you know what I mean? Now that it's been said, like I can't get away from it. Like it's actually a miracle that I stopped wearing eyeliner. But I prefer to not be in makeup, because I feel like, again, and this is just me, and this is again, a side note about me, is just I always felt like, you know, I don't want to be acknowledged for something I'm not. So that's why, you know. Anyway, there was one of those where she was spending like 2.5 hours doing her makeup, and I was thinking, when did we become this like we're doing everything just for the sake of like actually begging for men's attention? Because it's one thing when we get, like, obviously we get attention anyways, like on a normal day, even just not without doing all of this stuff. So I'm thinking, why are we even doing this? Like, because it's not like there's not guys interested in you like all the time, you know what I mean? And anyways, and also because me and my friends, I've always had friends that like we kind of are quite different in appearance anyway. Like I've always had a very mixed bag of friends, and I feel like it was always a really or I thought it was healthy, because I felt like, well, then there's not going to be any weird jealousies and weird anything, because anyways, the chances that somebody finds you attractive and me attractive is very unlikely, because we look completely different to each other, right? So, you know, whatever. So anyway, we end up not being friends anymore, because she gets all caught up in this lifestyle of just like literally hoeing about. Like it was actually insane. Like, and even the way she would conduct herself, like very naked on the internet, very like, you see what I'm saying, guys? Like it's just, So at the same time, again, the group at my that I was friends with. Not to mention, obviously, the dramas that come with things like doing things like cheerleading and like just being in the dance industry in general. It's very competitive. Like when you go to places like cities, big cities, and like you see it even on the internet, when you go to these professional studios where all the pros and like the top industry level people are, it's like it's one of the most wholesome and yet toxic environments at the same time, because it's super wholesome in the sense that everybody kind of does want to see everybody win and everybody's like really respectful, but it's also highly competitive. So like you go to the dance studio and like you're going to take a dance class, like you're just going to take your weekly classes, right? But then everybody's dressing as if this is like them dancing on stage because they also want to be spotted for like, you know, jobs. And so that was another thing that I was a bit like, I couldn't really resonate with, like the desperation for attention. Do you guys see what I'm saying? Like, so that's why it's like a lot of these things, like I'm thinking about what the costs are of like actually being like who I am and like how it is when it comes to human beings, and it's just not a fun time. It's not a fun time. No, it's not been a fun time for me, and that's what I feel like gets missed. Is it's all fun and games when you think about, oh, how cool I looked on stage, how fantastic it was for me to be walking across the stage at graduation and be whatever, and how nice it was to see me doing this, or to work with this person and that person. Like, this is why I don't really even think about the celebrities and people that I met, because honestly I don't really care. Like, I don't care. Like, it's so funny. Sometimes I'll just randomly remember something that I did. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I completely forgot that I met this person. I completely forgot that this happened. Like, the other day I was thinking, I completely forgot that I did a whole art. I project managed a whole art exhibition at some point, like when I was 22. Like, I project managed I completely forgot about that, because to me those things are not the things that matter. But then the things that do matter to me, it's just like I can't have them and I also win at the same time. That's what it feels like a lot of the time. That's how it feels. I'm not saying that's how it is, but it also kind of is, because if you hear anybody that like really truly succeeds in life, that is something that comes along with it. It comes along with the betrayals, the sabotage, the loss of friendship, the testing of your values. Like I said, one of my friends, the reason why I lost her is just because it was a testing of values, as in like, I'm not going to be there naked with you on Instagram. Like, it's just not going to happen. I value, first of all, I value myself more than that. And second of all, I value you more than that. And I didn't ever judge her about it. But, you know, people have a tendency, I've realized as well, that they project because they know how they feel on the inside about something. And so then they project it as if you're the one who's thinking that. And I wasn't even thinking that. I was just thinking, I can't be involved. I'm not going to be involved in that. But also because I was just I'm not comfortable like that. I'm not comfortable to just be naked on the internet. Like, are you kidding me? That's insanity. To me, like, that's crazy. It's crazy for me to take a photo of, you know, myself, a selfie, because like I said, I just get bored. I get bored of staring at my own face. Like, the only time I can do it is when I'm like making YouTube videos, and half the time I'm not even making eye contact. I don't make eye contact with the camera for starters. A lot of the time I'm not even looking at what I'm doing. I'm just there. So yeah, so those are all the reasons and things that, like, I feel like people don't think about, like the things that come along with it. Because like I said, it's all well and good. Like, a lot of these relationships, especially with females, when we were all like at a similar level, like we were all at school, we were all at this, it was fine. It was as soon as the like things started to shift, that's when things started to shift. And the problem is, I'm a lover and I'm loyal, so it actually hurts my feelings a lot. And I don't think people realize that that my feelings also can hurt, because I feel like people think you're just strong and you can just put up with everything and you just get on with it all. Yeah, I do, because I'm a winner. But it doesn't mean it's not costing me something on the inside. It doesn't mean it's not breaking my heart. You know what I mean? And a lot of times I'm just way too busy to even feel the heartbreak, which is why I feel like I felt it this year, especially because I've just, not that I've had more time, because I've actually not really had more time, but it's more that I've the age that I've come to and the type of work I've been doing, and just being able to observe, because I spend a lot of time observing being a teacher. It's made me just think differently, because then when you're looking at a kid and you're looking at the children and you're observing like how the dynamics are working, it does make you look at the world in a different way, you know? But anyways, I'm going to go on to something else in my next video, because I still got a lot of things to get off my chest. In particular, the things in this world that just don't make sense to me, because I've been thinking about, there's just seems to be these social contracts that I don't know about. So that's what I'm going to be talking about next, you guys. I know there's so much going on here. And thank you, like I said, to you guys, the winning team. You guys truly are the restoration of my hope in any types of relationships. Like, if I hadn't known you guys all these years and we hadn't been on the journey we've been on, I wouldn't even be considering any of this. I wouldn't even be considering it. I would be literally finding a way to build or buy a castle in Antarctica. and I will pop down as an oracle with some words of wisdom every now and then. And otherwise, I'll be there by myself. And it sounds crazy to people that I would be that comfortable by myself. But for me, the risks of having relationships, particularly when you have success and like just the other risks that come with it, like I said, you have to dedicate yourself. You can't drop the ball now. People are trusting in you. People are believing in you. People are holding you accountable. It's a lot of pressure. And like, unless you've ever been under all of that amount of pressure, you won't get it. You won't get it. Like, this is why I respect athletes massively, because I'm like, the pressure of having all these people sitting there watching you play a game and they feel entitled to how you should have played or what they think and whatever. It's easy to sit there in the bleachers and have your opinion. It's easy to sit there as in the audience because you're just there. No one's even seeing you. But being the one who has the responsibility that if I mess up, I've never even told you guys about how I messed up at that competition on stage. I messed up in the second 8 count of my own choreography on stage, but that's a conversation for another day. I'm going to talk to you guys about the things that I think don't make sense to me, the societal contracts that I don't get. That's going to be the next video because that's something else I've been thinking quite a lot about, especially in this holiday season. Anyways, you guys, Flash Game is played to win. God bless every single one of you, and I'll see you in my next one. God loves you, I love you. I forgot to say that. God loves you, I love you, and I'll see you in my next one.